Julio was only 14 years old, but unlike most boys his age, he had no home, no bed to sleep on, and most days, no food to eat. He lived on the streets of a noisy, crowded city called Abuja, alone, barefoot, and forgotten. Each morning, Julio woke up on the cold pavement, his back aching from the hard concrete, his lips dry, and his stomach groaning with hunger. He wore the same torn clothes every day and carried with him a large, worn-out sack, his only possession. To survive, he searched through trash bins, picking bottles, old cans, and bent scrap metal. He hoped to sell them for a few coins. Sometimes someone would give him 5 naira, a small gesture that felt like gold. But more often he was shouted at, "Go away! You're dirty! You're making the market stink." But Julio never gave up, even when his belly screamed, even when he hadn't eaten for 2 days, even when people looked through him like he wasn't even there. That morning, the sun was burning hot as he dragged his sack across dusty streets. He searched gutters and rubbish piles and found 2 crushed bottles and a few empty cans. He smiled faintly. "Maybe today," he whispered, "I'll get enough coins to buy some food." He arrived at the market, busy, loud, chaotic. Women shouted prices, men pushed heavy carts, children laughed with bread in their hands. Julio approached a food stall. "Auntie, please, do you have something you're not using?" The woman turned sharply. "Go away. Do I look like I cook for beggars?" He stepped back in silence. One stall after another, the answer was the same. Some ignored him, some cursed, some turned their heads in disgust. But none saw the hungry boy behind the dirt. Then he saw a group of boys eating roasted corn near a banana stall. One dropped a piece of food and walked away. Julio rushed to it, wiping the dust off with his shirt. But just as he lifted it to his mouth, a stray dog snatched it from his hand and ran. Julio sat under a stall, arms around his knees, holding in his tears. "Maybe the trash will feed me today," he whispered. Behind a restaurant, the air was filled with the smell of spoiled food and swarms of flies. But to Julio, it was hope. He dug through the waste, carefully, patiently. And then he found it, a small bowl of rice and beans. Not too dirty, not too old. "Thank you, God," he whispered. He washed the bowl using water dripping from a broken pipe. He sat under a tree. And for the first time in 2 days, he smiled. But just as he lifted the spoon to his mouth, he heard a sound, a quiet thud, behind the dumpster. He turned. A woman was lying there, her clothes dusty, her body trembling, her face pale with sweat. And she was pregnant. Julio froze. He dropped the spoon, ran to her. Madam, are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were closed, her hands trembled. Her belly was big, too big, and it looked tight. Still, Julio looked at the food in his hand, his only meal. Then he looked at her again. Dry lips, hollow cheeks. A baby, still inside her. He knelt beside her. "Please eat, madam, just a little. You need it more than me." He tore the plastic bag and slowly fed her small bits of rice with his fingers. Tears fell from her eyes. She opened them and saw his face, dusty, young, tired, and kind. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you helping me?" Julio smiled softly. "Because I know what hunger feels like. No one helped me yesterday. But I don't want your baby to suffer." The woman cried as she ate slowly, painfully. Julio wiped her forehead with his shirt. Her body stopped shaking. She began to breathe easier. "My name is Natasha," she said weakly. "I'm Julio," he replied. She smiled and pulled something from her bag, a bent but clean business card. "Take this. One day, if you need help, find me." He took the card. It meant nothing to others, but to him, it was hope. She stood up slowly, one hand on her belly, the other on his arm. "Thank you, Julio." And then she was gone. Years passed. Julio became a young man, still on the streets, still collecting bottles, still surviving. But he never forgot that moment. And he never threw away that card. He kept it in his pocket, close to his heart. One hot afternoon, while crossing the road to pick scrap metal, a speeding car came from the corner. He didn't see it in time. Crash. His sack flew, bottles shattered, blood spread across the road, people gathered. "That's the bottle boy. Call the hospital." He was rushed to St. Grace Hospital, unconscious, bleeding, barely breathing. And then she walked in, a nurse with calm eyes and steady hands. The moment she saw him, she stopped breathing. "Julio." She rushed to his side. "I'll take care of him, please, personally." It was her, Natasha. "You gave me your only meal, Julio. Now I will fight to keep you alive." Every day she fed him, cleaned his wounds, sat by his side, even through the night, talked to him when he couldn't respond. "You don't know who I became, Julio. But you saved me once. Now I will save you." After 5 days, he woke up. "Where am I?" he whispered. "You're safe now," she said. He looked at her, his eyes widened. "You? The woman from behind the dumpster?" She nodded. "Yes. And you gave me food when you had none." Tears streamed down both their faces. That moment, neither of them felt broken anymore. Julio stayed in the hospital for 2 more weeks. Each day, Natasha was there, bringing him food, clean clothes, and hope. Then came the question, "Where will I go now?" "You'll come with me," she said. They rode a small taxi to a clean, quiet apartment. For the first time in years, Julio saw a real home. He stepped in slowly, chairs, curtains, the smell of cooked rice. Then a small girl ran into the room. "Mommy, who is that?" Natasha smiled and knelt beside her. "This is Julio. A long time ago, he saved your life." The girl hugged him gently and said, "Thank you." It was the baby from that day. Her name was Zuri, which means beautiful in Swahili. Julio cried again, but these were tears of joy. That night he slept in a real bed, with food in his stomach, and for the first time he felt safe. He felt loved. Weeks passed. Julio helped in the house. He started learning to read using Zuri's books. He smiled. He laughed. He began to heal. One morning, Natasha came to him. "A friend of mine runs a recycling company. They're offering you a job." "A job?" he said, his voice shaking. "Yes, sorting bottles. Not for survival, for a living." And so Julio started a new life. No longer a boy of the streets, no longer just the bottle boy. He became Julio, a young man with purpose, with family, with hope. So, dear listener, remember this. Sometimes the ones with the least give the most. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness returns as a miracle. And sometimes a life can be saved with a single plate of rice. Never look down on anyone, because the person you help today might be the one who saves your life tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more powerful stories from Africa and beyond. This is Wisdom Tales Words, where every story carries a lesson, and every lesson carries light.